So I made 2 phone calls yesterday driving around, one to an NFL GM with real insight, said no chance. And then I called somebody who's close to Urban Meyer's wife, somebody very connected to Ohio State University who talks to Shelley Meyer. You know, wives have a little power in relationships, generally decide where we're going to live, at least in my family and most of my friends, that's how it works. She said no chance. And then Urban Meyer this morning had to talk about it because it's a story, and here's what Urban Meyer said this morning.
Unfortunately for you, some rumors came out yesterday connecting you to the USC job. I just want to give you the opportunity to refute it.
Yeah, there's no chance that I'm here and committed to try to build an organization.
All right, here's 3 things to think about. And guys don't think about this a lot. Number 1, his wife loves Florida. The kids love Florida. Wives decide where you live a lot. Wife doesn't love California. Wife loves Florida. They have a house in Sarasota. They love Florida. They love living in Florida. They love the beach. Urban's a very intense guy. They love the beach, the laid-back kind of nature of Florida over the intensity, the traffic, the people, 10 million people in California. They really like Florida. Number 2, Urban Meyer leaving would be quitting on Trevor Lawrence. If you know anything about Urban, I don't know Urban that well, but I know Urban pretty well. He always has incredibly close relationships with his quarterbacks. J.T. Barrett, Dwayne Haskins, Tim Tebow, Trevor Lawrence. He's not going to quit on Trevor Lawrence. He's not going to put Trevor Lawrence through that. And the number 3 thing, and this is a real thing. I've worked with people in this industry who are really nice people, and I've worked with some jerks. But you know what I've never worked with for a long time? Crazy people. Nobody's ever going to hire Bobby Petrino. He's a crazy person. He quits all the time. This would make Urban look crazy. They'd be quitting after a game? Literally after a season? Urban's only 57 years old. He has a chance to make somewhere between $5 and $10 million every year for the next 15 years. Not if he's a crazy guy. Networks don't hire crazy people. Colleges don't hire crazy people. Bobby Petrino's a great coach. Not a good one, a great coach. He's a crazy person. Having affairs with athletic department, getting on motorcycles, getting in crashes, quitting jobs he's a crazy person. He should be an analyst. He should be a coach at a top 6-7 school. He's a crazy person. This would make Urban look weird and crazy and untrustable. And he knows that. He's only 57 years old. Urban and I are the same age. I may go crazy at 80 when I can't, when I'm no longer going to look for work. I don't want to be ever viewed as crazy at 57. And so, his wife loves Florida. She's got a lot of power in that relationship. Number 2, he's not going to bail on Trevor Lawrence. He's not going to do that. He has incredibly close relationships with any quarterback he ever had at Ohio State and Florida. Really close. Closer than any coach I've ever known. His offense is so quarterback-based. And number 3, it would just be odd. And that's not a good place for anybody seeking employment anywhere to be. Odd guy. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
In talking about Cleveland beating bad teams. Believe it or not, there will be Mondays I won't talk about Baker and the Browns. But what I will do is what I do with my kids. I hold them to a higher standard. I'm not interested in your grades in PE. How did you do in calculus? Because that's my grading scale. I didn't spend a lot of time last year at the end of the year talking about Brady and Tampa beating Detroit and Atlanta twice. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. So if you look, and I talked about this yesterday, the difference between great and special and a guy, how do you quarterback trailing in football games? Because that changes everything. Baker Mayfield, twice this past Sunday, had to throw. Last 2 drives he had to throw. 3 and out and an interception. That's what I'm going to inspect. This is the highest compliment. And why does playing from behind well, why does that matter? Well, let's look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. They trailed 14 times. They won 9, lost 5. The year before, the Kansas City Chiefs trailed 15 times, and they won 11-4. The Browns trailed for about 2 series, and their offense stunk. And that's the difference in this league. I don't care how Derek Carr plays when he leads. I know in that last drive with 37 seconds, he made 2 huge throws, field goal, tie, 1 in overtime. And that's the greatest compliment I can give Cleveland. I'm not interested beating lousy teams. You're so far beyond that. By the way, Mahomes in his career when trailing, and this is what separates him from the league, is 25-10. Baker when trailing is 13-24. There's no question Baker is a franchise quarterback. We're out of that discussion. But Baker wants to be a $40 million quarterback. And 13-24 when trailing, just will not do. And that's why Cleveland hasn't signed him yet. And that's why Cleveland is waiting. This is a league of how do you play in the second halves, especially in crisis. Baker admitted as much after the game, admitted it. Games come down to 2 or 3 throws, and they come down to 2 or 3 throws in crisis, not in the first quarter. So, that is my compliment. We are out of is Baker a franchise quarterback? Yeah. Is Cleveland going to win the AFC North? Yeah, I picked them probably. Are they going to lead in 12 to 13 of their games? Yeah, maybe 50. They led Kansas City. I know they won't see this as a compliment, but I am going to put the inspection glass. I'm going to inspect Cleveland trailing because that's the stand. That's where they are now. How are they trailing? It's the only unanswered question. We know they can lead. We know they can run. We know they have the best offensive line. We know they can win the division. We know they can win the playoff game. The only thing now is Baker good trailing late because Mahomes is and Brady is. That's where you're at now, and it's not a criticism. My staff would like me to talk Aaron Rodgers now. I'm not going to. I can't do it. I'm not interested. I'm going to talk about it at some point because the sound's pretty good, but my staff right now pulling out their hair. Uncle Colin, I am over high maintenance Aaron. And so I want to talk about this. So the Bears were bad in week 1, way worse than I thought they'd be. Matt Nagy had a very good September record. They were terrible. They played, they trailed 13-7 at half, then the wheels came off.